Good evening, everyone. My name is Donna Sharpe with Donna Sharpe Worldwide and Holistic Retreats. Thank you so much for joining me here on day 371 of Doing These Lives. I just want to take a moment just to catch my breath. And I think I can speak for so many others to say the same. I know the year just started. And for some reason, I just have a feeling that so many of you are, hi Kim, how are you? Welcome. So many of you are trying to keep up, trying to live up to the standards that you're setting for yourself for this new year, right? You may be trying to accomplish certain goals that you feel people are holding you accountable for. Trying to live beyond what everybody else is doing, right? So listen, I'd like to encourage you just to do you. And hi Mr. Tyrone, how are you? Welcome, welcome. I want to encourage you just to be yourself and don't try to live up to other people's standards, all right? So many people are on track to doing certain things that directly is a part of the gift that they have. But a lot of times things fall in place and are very similar to what other people are doing. But the one thing I'll tell you is that every single person has their own unique set of gifts. No two people are alike, no 10 people are alike. We're all individually made, uniquely made, and we have so many different characteristics to offer. So what happens when you have all these things going through your mind and you're sitting still and you're wondering, am I ever going to get all of this stuff done, right? Life throws so many different things at you. It throws work at you. It throws children at you. It throws new adventures. It throws new opportunities. It throws the ability to make sure that you're living a life of vitality, right? And after a while, you guys be very comfortable understanding what that looks like. So all these things that are being thrown at you, what do you do with them? So many times I see people just throw their hands in the air. Ah! I don't want to deal with this anymore. And they get tired, they get exhausted. Does that sound like you? Sounds like times when you just sit down and you just look up and you say, okay God, I've done everything that I could do, so what more would you like me to do? I'm done, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. It feels like where I'm going is not where I need to be. Hi Lachey, thank you for joining. So at what point do you let it all go? Hi Ivy, how are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So at what point do you just give up, throw your hands in the air and say, listen, I'm tired, I can't deal with all of this, there's just too many things. So that's the point in your life that I feel that you should really sit down and identify a plan of action. 5 days in the month of December, actually maybe 5 to 6, 7 days, I spent some time going over what it takes to create a SMART goal and how to effectively plan your life and not live based on New Year's Eve resolutions. So if you didn't get a chance to watch the lives, I would encourage you to go back and take a look at how to set a plan for your life, okay? Because when you don't have anything scribed on paper, as I mentioned, and it's in your head, right? Chances are it's not going to get done. You're going to go through this whimsical point in your life where everything is here and you're saying to yourself, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that, I have to do that. And all of this, have to do this and that, turns to nothing because 6 months pass and you're like, man, I really wanted to do X, Y, Z. You didn't do it. The Bible said if you don't take your plan, make it very painfully clear, put it on paper and scribe it, it will never get accomplished. So I'm going to encourage you today to make sure that you create that plan for yourself. Hello Gabby, thank you so much for joining. Welcome, welcome. So tonight, the topic that I want to talk about, it's the topic that so many of you are probably faced with right now because You get so busy trying to meet other people's standards that you lose shy of your own expectations and your own goals and your own progression as to where you need to go. So the topic is complacency. Complacency, all right? So what I'd like to do first is define the word complacency, because so many times, when I look back and I speak in the past, and I never want to underestimate the person who doesn't understand what the meaning is. And so by me doing so, I like to go back and just review the definition, because once I give you a clear understanding of the definition, then it just makes sense to you, and you can put it in your own context and mesh it with what it is that you're going through in your life today. So the definition of complacency is a feeling of contentment or self-satisfaction, often combined with a lack of awareness of pending trouble or controversy. So feeling of contentment, self-satisfaction. So you feel like you get to a point where this is all I need. This is where I need to be. I don't need to do any more. This is it. But you know good and well that you haven't even reached quarter of the way of exactly where you need to be. But you become complacent, status quo. Listen to this one. This one sounds very interesting. Some things that may sound very familiar to you. Someone who is complacent has become overly content. An example, the junk food eating couch potato might be feeling complacent, right? Hi Wendy, thanks for joining. So someone that takes that bag of Oreo cookies, for example, right? And they said, I'm not going to eat more than 2 Oreos. And next thing you know, they eat the whole bag. And life just overwhelms them. So they just sit there and they don't think about a thing. They just sit and they binge on every single thing, because that's the easiest thing to do. To just get into that junk food and just sit there and just say, you know what, I'm tired. I'm just going to do whatever. Just do whatever feels good, right? So then you're coming off track, guys. So I want you to be careful of that, because it may derail you to the point where it's going to take you even longer to get back on track, right? So the literal meaning of this word, Latin root, is very pleased. But even though complacent people may seem pleased with themselves, we are rarely pleased with them. So you may be very pleased with yourself, but what people are seeing from the outside looking in is someone that they feel can pick themselves up and start to do better. All right? And sometimes you need an extra push. You may have to rely on some of your friends and family to help you do that. So I'm going to talk about 3 points on complacency and how this can actually affect your progression in life. The first one is you're no longer striving to do your best, right? You're no longer striving to do your best. You've tried everything you can. It's difficult because, like I said, when you're transforming and you're changing yourself, it's going to be a difficult road. And if you're not someone that's self-motivated or not someone that really understands how to keep the end in mind, you're bound to not progress ahead, right? Sometimes you need someone to give you that support, a mentor, for example, because you're not able to do it on your own. So find that so that you don't fall into that trap, right? So you're no longer striving to do your best, basically meeting and exceeding the expectation of your field. So whatever that gift is that I've been encouraging most of you to birth, because you all have a gift. You have some fantastic gift somebody is waiting to hear, and you have it buried deep down. I can't tell you how many times I talk to people, countless times, and I said, what is it that you love to do? And they share with me what they love to do, and I says, okay, and when you do that, how does that make you feel? And they get excited, and you see the light bulbs go off, and their eyes light up, right? But then what's next? How do you move from where you are right now in that complacent mode to actually placing it in action, right? It's finding out the steps that it takes to get there, and then adding the actions to it, okay? The second thing is you're not staying up to date on your field and industry. If there's an area that you have a gift in and you feel like you're ready to birth that area, you're going to have to do the research. If you're not very savvy in that field, you're going to have to ask questions, you're going to have to meet with people, you're going to have to read and do all those fun things that you may not want to do, because that's how you're going to take it to another level, right? I've always recommended, this is a recommendation actually from Carolyn Leaf. She's a brain scientist, and she suggests that you study 2 hours of the topic of your choice on a daily basis consistently, to the point where you're able to teach it to someone else. And by doing that, you're mastering a particular field of your interest. The only way to do that, guys, is to pick up a book, read the book, be very consistent at the area that you're studying, and be able to look at someone else or 5, 10 people and say, you know what, I want to teach this topic to you. And when you do that, now you know that you're on your way to understanding that particular area that you have vested interest in. All right? And the third thing is you are not seeking or taking advantage of new opportunities. Basically what this does, it helps to increase your exposure and expand your existing skills. Maybe there are skills that you're going to have to obtain in order to birth the gift. All right? You may have a gift, but there's additional things that you're going to need to add to it. In order to do that, you have to do your homework. So I'm going to encourage you that if you feel that you're going to stay complacent and everything is going to work out, I'm going to let you know that I'm just saying hello here to a couple of people. I'm going to just tell you that it's going to be a slow go. All right? So whatever it is that you have in mind for this start of 2020, you guys know how you are about this whole New Year's resolution thing. I say make it a consistent thing. Then whatever it is that you say, you know what, there's 5 things I want to make sure I get done this year. All right, let's speak on what you're thinking about. You want to make sure that you take it, you might want to segment your year in quarters and figure out which one you're going to do which quarter. And by the time you decide that, you have to put a plan of action now behind each and every single one of them, because in order to accomplish that, then you have to make sure you break it down into bite size so that it just makes sense when it's all said and done. So be very, very diligent in planning it out. Make sure that you're making it very specific based on the SMART goals that I discussed, by having a date, a time, exactly what you want it to look like, how far ahead you expect to be in that particular area. And the SMART goal does not necessarily, again, have to be something business related. It could be related to your family, your relationships, your job. There's a number of categories in your life that you can apply that same goal to. So by all means, again, if you have any questions and you'd like to message me, and because you're not sure how to set up this goal, I'll be happy to help you. But the longer you take, you're going to skip past January. Remember, this week coming up is already the second week in January, and you would not have gotten anything started that you really have up here. So get it out of here. Start to put it on here, right? It makes a big difference. And then when the year is finished, you can look back and say, well, how many of those things did I actually accomplish, right? And when you look back and you're able to check off everything and say, you know what? Man, I set 5 goals for myself, and I met them all and exceeded. And that's just a great feeling. All right, so this is day 371 for me, guys. As I mentioned, I will be moving to a whole different platform. I will send some notification out, and if you choose to follow me, I'll be delighted. Outside of that, you can learn more about myself as your transformational wellness life coach on DonnaSharpeWorldwide.com, and there you can learn a little bit more about me in the About section. All right. Outside of that, I love it when you share this message with someone else in your circle that you feel could have heard this today that didn't get a chance to come on. But either way, just like what you see. If you don't like what you see, message me, whatever the case is, all right? I just pray that it's added some kind of nugget to your life today, and that you're able to put it in action tomorrow and not wait too long, all right? So that's all I have for you this evening. Ms. Kim, thank you for joining. Lachey, thank you for joining. Miss Ivy and Gabby, thank you so much for joining, and Wendy. And anyone else that hits the replay button and join later on, I welcome you and I thank you so much for all your support as always. And I'll be back again here tomorrow, day 372. And just remember, please, 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 try not to get complacent in the things that you do. If you feel like you're not being challenged, if you're not challenged enough, then complacency is setting in, all right? So think some more on that and just let me know what you think. All right, so have a fantastic evening, guys, and be